From the John DeVito Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Paranormal Radio with Bob Trzeciak on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. So sit back and enjoy Paranormal Radio. And now, here is the king of Paranormal Radio, Mr. Bob Trzeciak.
You forgot me already, Bob Trzeciak. You forgot my name already there, John, huh? Thank you, John. Always nice to come here and do these shows. They're just a joy to do. Before I get started, before I do guests, and I'll announce everybody that's coming on and things coming up and et cetera, and, of course, anything that anybody else has to plug too, of course, we'll make mention of. Mr. Leland Pierson.
Hello.
Co-host.
Yes.
I've decided after I listened to the last show, I says, I'm doing something wrong here. I says, I'm not giving Leland enough time. I says, I guess I'm just used to talking so much, doing the show for so long by myself, that now I got to realize I got a co-host. So, Leland, I'm just going to hand it over to you. This is Mr. Leland Pierson, who's co-hosting now on Paranormal Radio. So you've got some notes and some things there that you're going to do. So you do what you're going to do there.
Oh, sure.
And then we'll get started.
Good evening, afternoon, or whatever time it is you're listening to this. So I'm Leland. As you know, I've been on the show now,
It's like a few weeks we've had John.
Fifth show,
in a few months, I
show?
should say, we've had John. Yeah,
Feels
you've been doing it for a while, yeah.
So what I was thinking about doing now is doing paranormal news and going over, picking out some good news articles that have come up. It's a little hard to vet some of these because a lot of it is on Reddit and Twitter and things that then you look it up and it's like, I have no idea where they even got this information from. But there is a big news that has literally blown up in the skies recently.
The balloons.
Not the balloons. 3 unidentified objects.
That's the balloons.
No, that's different. We knew what the balloon was. These are 3 different things. We have no
okay.
idea
This I don't know.
So a U.S. Air Force general says he hasn't ruled out that aliens were behind these objects that were blown out of the sky. This U.S. general is also in charge of airspace security. So he's a very high up. Yet the White House press secretary today went off and said it was not aliens. They weren't UFOs. They are just unidentified objects, not extraterrestrial. But
what isn't an unidentified object?
Well, I think they're kind of leaning it's not E.T. It's just we don't know what it is yet.
It's not a balloon floating over from China or whatever.
So we'll find out. So I'm curious, though, and as I was looking this up this morning, I saw that there was only 2 very uncredible websites, I would say, when they're very shady looking. But then when I looked it up again on my way over here, USA Today, the Chicago Tribune, the New York Times were posting articles about it also. So I don't know, we might have to do an update on this. This all happened this weekend and this morning.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. No, I didn't. Was this a news item? Was this on the news this morning and everything?
Yep, I saw it making the rounds on some of the Instagram pages I follow, but they're paranormally, so I'm kind of I don't know what they're talking about.
I guess I should have left the news on longer. I just waited to hear the 51-degree weather, and then I turned it off. That was it. I guess I should have stayed on there a little longer. What else have you got there, Leland? You got a few notes there.
Yep, I got 2 more things. So a website I found called Live Sciences, even though it's very more paranormally, Bachelor's Grove made their top 11 most haunted places in America.
I was there yesterday, which I'll talk about.
Oh, see it. We're segueing into this. So, but this is kind of we have a full house today. I wasn't sure if we were going to have a full house or not. But also, I want to do a call to action to anybody that listens to kind of get more people involved that just listen, more so than just commenting on Facebook. If I haven't made a real website, maybe we'll change it right now. But if you email me at questioningtheweird@gmail.com, tell me what you think the most haunted place in Chicago is. Can be Bachelor's Grove. And then also, if you have any interesting articles that you want to kind of, post up and let us look into, send them right over. Or maybe you want to be on the show and you don't want to go on Facebook and talk to Bob about being on the show. You can email me there.
Now Leland does his own show, too. He has his own show that he has called just that. It's called Questioning the Weird, which he does.
Yep.
Yeah, because Leland doesn't really, I don't know, you don't really believe in the paranormal.
No, I want to be
He wants
proven.
the definite proof. Yeah.
But I think it's all feasible, and also, if not, then it's a lot of fun to look into.
You believe in UFOs, though?
Well, aliens are definitely real. I mean, there's...
Well, we know that. They're all coming across the border.
Right. That's a hot take.
We all know that. I mean, I know that. And I'm still in the 19th century. I don't have a cell phone, and I know that.
But I just mean mathematically, aliens exist in our universe.
Oh, those aliens.
Yes, the ETs. But I don't know if they're actually on Earth, because I think if they showed up when they think they did, I think they would have gotten bored right quick and been like, we'll come back in like 100 years and see.
I think my theory on that is that I think they're here, but I think they're just incognito. They're like amongst us, and I also believe they're time travelers too.
It could be.
Yeah,
I mean, you kind of have
to
be the travel at that.
Yeah, I believe they're
speed.
here because sometimes you meet these different people and you meet stuff and you say there's something about them that just, and it could be one of them. It could be. So yeah, I'm into that. What else have you got, Leland?
Well,
interesting stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I got at the moment. If this kind of stuff interests you, or you want to keep, as a listener or viewer or whatever, you want to keep doing these kinds of things, let me know. I'm all open to suggestions.
Well, you don't worry about what they want to do. Do you want to do it?
Oh, I like.
Well, then you keep doing it. Eventually, it'll catch on.
But so Bachelor's Grove, I guess we can segue into that. So you were at Bachelor's
Grove?
Yeah,
I stopped there yesterday. I was there. I actually got there early in the morning. I was actually heading out to Homer Glen. I was going out to my brother's house to spend some time with my family and with them, and to do a little shopping out there at the big Home and Harvest, the big farm store out there. And so I said, okay, let me stop at Bachelor's Grove. Haven't been there in a while. The weather was kind of nice, although in the morning it was 10 o'clock in the morning. It was a little chilly. But I actually had an ulterior motive for being there, too. I wanted to see if I could find Pete Crapia.
Who's that?
That's my good friend Pete Crapia. Pete Crapia lives in Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. And I didn't see his car out, and I thought, well, maybe Pete got a different car now. I don't know. But sometimes he's like in the back of Bachelor's Grove. He parks there. Sometimes he does. So I went in, and I was the only one in the cemetery. I walked down the trail. I was in, and I thought there'll be maybe some other folks in there or something. Nobody was there. There was nobody else there, but it was kind of nice. It was a nice time to meditate, to look around, just kind of sit there, kind of, look things over, and that. Haven't been there for a while. But I actually called Pete. Pete has like a Las Vegas number.
Okay, and so this guy's real.
Oh, yeah.
He really is.
Oh, no.
You said it like I didn't really know.
He pops out every time we've gone. So
oh, yeah, Pete's always in Bachelor's Grove. Yeah, he's a great guy.
We did a photo shoot in the area, and my daughters walked over. It was my daughter's Sweet 16, so we went over to the woods, and she was, doing, like, banners and stuff. Anyways, so all of a sudden, I'm like, I look over, I see Carrie talking to this guy, and I'm like, you left Carrie alone in the cemetery with some random dude? And they're like, well, she was talking to him. We figured we know. Yeah, he just like popped out of nowhere.
Pete's always, he loves Bachelor's Grove. That's what he loves. He's very dedicated to it. He's very much into it and that. And I like to do wellness checks on Pete because I like Pete. He's a good friend. I like him. And I called him, and I got no answer on his machine, nothing, no answer back or nothing like that. So I went by. I said, well, let me see if he's there. And he wasn't there. So, Pete, if you listen to this broadcast or whatever, give me a ring. Just let me know how you're doing. Make sure everything's okay with you and things are well and you're doing all right. And eventually we'll cross paths. We'll bump into each other. Okay, before I go any further with that, I want to introduce the folks that we have coming on tonight. That one didn't come. Mr. Rob Tillian is back with us again. He was with us last month, and he's coming on again. I invited him back on, and Rob was a nice guest last month, I should say, when he was with us. He kind of represented Paranormal Chicago. That's Jack Chavez, who I don't like. I don't like Jack. I never got along with Jack. We always have this thing going. I always say, I don't like you anyway. I used to post this on Facebook, and then people started saying, why don't you like him, or why doesn't he like you? And it's just a joke that we have going on. Jack knows I love him very much.
Should we make shirts for you that says, I don't like Jack?
I don't like Jack, yeah. No, Jack Chavez. That's his group, Paranormal Chicago, that he got rolling, and Rob belongs to that, so Rob's going to be with us tonight talking about that. Carrie Bean was with us a while back. She was on the show before she came on. She's back again, and Carrie's got a wonderful store there with a lot of different activities and things they're going on with that store, and she'll be talking about that. And
Lisa Dulitis.
Lisa Dulitis.
Yeah, like I'm delighted to meet you.
Dulitis.
How many times have you heard that joke?
Delightis with your personality.
I started saying that because
That's a good one.
I started saying that because people would say like delicious, Dulitis, like all this
I like
weird
that.
stuff. So I'm like delighted.
How do you spell Dulitis?
Dulaitis.
Dulitis. It sounds like a Greek name.
Lithuanian.
Well, I got that wrong.
No, the TIS is always either Greek or Lithuanian.
Yeah, that's what I figured, yeah. Well, Lisa Dulitis is with us. She's here. Lisa Dulitis is here to delight us.
Yeah, I'm going to
love
try
it.
at least.
And Jake Petrizzo. Jake Petrizzo. Been bumping into Jake a lot lately. Yeah, Jake is involved in a few different things as well as flying airplanes.
I don't fly airplanes.
Well, thank God for that.
It's like, what the hell?
But he works for Southwest. But I don't know, should I have said that?
That doesn't matter.
Well, I'll give Southwest the plug because in 2 weeks I'm going to be flying them to New Orleans and I want everything to go nice.
I like
But Jake is with us.
Southwest.
Yeah, I've always flown Southwest.
They
But
need some
Jake
good
is into the
press right now.
paranormal too, and he also works for Kildare for the haunted house over there with those wonderful O'Connell people, Mr. Tim O'Connell and Kylie O'Connell. Two nicer folks on the earth you won't find. They're just wonderful people.
And to
Okay.
jump in really quick with Jake, if anybody's seen the episode I did where I was at Kildare's haunted house before it opened, he was the guy that was holding my hand the whole time in the background.
Oh, absolutely.
Who did not want to come with, but I made him.
I wanted to see your reaction because I really don't have any reaction when it comes to that. I mean, if I've never been there, then yeah, but
I had a lot of fun. Anyway.
that was fun.
Yeah, and then before I get interrupted again,
You didn't see that dirty look. I felt that. It's going to be I hate Leland shirt soon.
no, please, anybody jump in anytime you want. We run a very loose ship here. That's what we do. Throw a few plugs in for folks. Clockwork Mobile Escape Rooms and Midnight Terror, two subjects that are very dear to my heart because I work for both of them, kind of. But Colin Dunlop with Mobile Escape Rooms, he does the mobile escape rooms, and also, too, he does all those bounce house things and that. I know right now, of course, we're still kind of in the winter, technically. You wouldn't know by today's weather, but we are still in winter. But give him a call. Go up on their website, Clockwork Mobile Escape Rooms, Colin Dunlop. He's got a site there and everything if you want to book for anything, because he gets very busy. Once the spring and summer comes, he's very busy with the escape rooms. Escape rooms they can still do in the winter if you're having an event and you want to do an escape room. Give him a call. He'll give you a great deal on that. And then he's being very nice to us. If somehow or another you mention Paranormal Radio when you call him to book an event with him, he'll donate $20 for Paranormal Radio. So that will go to John to help with costs with the station and things. That was my own. I got my own note in there. It says, who's this? Valentine's Day. That's me. Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, palm readings. I'll be doing palm readings tomorrow night at Chuck's Southern Comforts Restaurant. I love that. Chuck's Southern Comforts Restaurant. Over on 79th and Natchez in Burbank. They're right across the street from the Burbank Firehouse. And I've been with them for a number of years doing palm readings on different occasions. So I'll be there tomorrow night with them for Valentine's Day doing palm readings with them. Chinatown. I'm not going to announce the Chinatown tour. It's still a ways away. I'm not going to announce anything else. I don't want to go too far ahead with that. This is Black History Month.
Yes.
This is Black History Month. African Americans. We got to honor African Americans this month. I did a while back, a couple of years ago. I got an idea to do a program because I do different talks at some of the libraries and things, and I kept hearing Black Lives Matter, and of course they do. Everyone's life matters. Everybody's life matters. I don't care who you are, what you are. Even if you're an alien from outer space, your life matters. Everybody's life matters. But I got the idea to do a program, Black Deaths Matter. Because there have been many, many, many African Americans that have done great things and things that benefit us all on a daily basis. And they've gone on to their rewards and they're buried and they're gone and no one knows anything about them. The only one I just want to mention somebody today, I want to mention Mr. Charles Harrison. He's often called Mr. Plastic. He worked for Sears Roebuck, and he was actually the first black executive hired by Sears. Of course, they had African Americans working in Sears and the different departments over the years, but he was the first executive that was hired in an executive position, and that was in I think 61 or 63 when he got hired on. And he's often called Mr. Plastic because he introduced plastic to us all through the Sears catalog. People don't know this. Up until that time, all our garbage cans were made out of metal, bread boxes, storage containers, everything was metal, everything was wooden and that, and he got the idea for plastic. Plastic's easy to clean, it doesn't rust, it doesn't corrode, so all our plastic waste baskets, Tupperware, plastic storage bins, thank Mr. Charles Harrison for that, and he also sold all that through the Sears catalog. So there's an African American that contributes some great stuff to us that you're not even aware of. How many people heard of Charles Harrison?
Never
Chuck
heard
Harrison,
that
Mr.
before,
Plastic. See? Somebody I'd like to mention. And then also, too, today is President's Day. Honor our presidents, all of our presidents.
That was also on the list. The White House. Top 11 haunted places in
Oh,
America.
the White House is yeah, that's a haunted place. Are you kidding? Yeah, that's my next trip. Next trip I want to do. I've never been to Washington, D.C. I want to go visit Washington. I want to do that. But yeah, the White House is a lot of people don't know that. It's like one of the most haunted buildings in the world. Yeah, a lot of things go on in the White House there. So we want to mention that. And then yesterday was Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809. Just a little fact I want to mention about Abraham Lincoln that people don't know. Of course, so many things have been written about Abraham Lincoln in books and movies and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's been so much that has been said. But something that a lot of people do not know is that on his death, before his permanent burial, where he's at now in Springfield, his body was actually moved 17 different times. He was moved 17 different times before it was permanently buried in the tomb that it's in now in Springfield. Of course, when he died, he was assassinated in Washington, and then from Washington en route to Springfield, every town and city along the way did tributes and visitations for the president, because that was our first assassinated president that we had. And before his permanent burial in the tomb in Oak Ridge, Oak Ridge Cemetery in Springfield, his body was actually moved around 17 different times before it was permanently buried. Finally, about 1901, Robert Lincoln, Lincoln's only surviving son, actually the only surviving Lincoln family member, the three other brothers, Eddie, Willie, and Tad, all died, and by that time his mother, Mary Todd Lincoln, had been passed away too. Robert finally had enough of this and said, look, I want my father and my family buried permanently, and I want things settled, and that's it. So finally, in 1901, they did repairs to the tomb. They had that fixed. They took a steel cage, had the caskets put in the cage, and had it covered in about 10 tons of cement, and then buried down below in the tomb, and then sealed over the top. But before they did that, they actually, in September, they had about 20, I think it was either 22 or 26 people in September come and witness the opening of the casket, because his casket was actually opened 5 times too through the years, because every time they moved it or something, they wanted to make sure that it was indeed him in there, so they did open it. But the last time was in September 26th, I think it was 1901. They opened his casket for the last time before it was permanently buried, just to make positive identification of it. And there was one child present at that, and his name was Fleetwood Lindley. And Mr. Fleetwood Lindley made it into the 60s. I think he died, maybe 1965 or 69 when he passed away. And he was the last person to look at the face of Abraham Lincoln. And he said later in life, he regretted doing it because he often had nightmares about it. Because he says he can remember it being open, and he said the stench that came was a very horrible smell from it. And his features were there. You could see his face all whitened and everything because he had been, chalked and embalmed so much, up en route to Springfield for each, visitation. They actually had an embalmer travel with the casket. And every time his body was displayed in one of the cities, the embalmer would have to touch him up and do things. I think they even changed the suit, not the suit, he wore his Brooks Brothers suit that he wore for his second inauguration. That's what he's buried in. But his shirt, I think they would change the shirt on it and freshen him up a little bit, and so he's presentable for visitation. But he was the last person to look at Abraham Lincoln's face, and he said he always had nightmares about it, so he kind of regretted doing it. So just a few facts about Abraham Lincoln I wanted to mention there. The rest of our presidents, gosh almighty, I could talk forever about that. I did a thing one time where I did 43, I think at that time we had 43 of them on this station. I did it. I did 43 presidents in 43 minutes. I ran through them all and said some facts about each president down the line. So just to remember our presidents, we've had some good ones, we've had some bad ones, we've had some that never sought the office, we've had some that really sought the office and really wanted it, some loved it, some couldn't stand it, some couldn't wait to be out of it. So, but by and large, they've all been there for us, and they're there in one way or another, and I don't think there's been any one of them, no matter who we have liked or have not liked over the years, I don't think we've ever had any one single president that went in there and said, yep, I want to be a bad president. I think they all go in wanting to do something for the country, do something for the people, but very often it just doesn't turn out that way. So today's President's Day to honor presidents. So that's what I've got about that. Now I'm going to get to the guests finally before, we'll go longer today. We don't worry about that. We're all right if we go a little longer, right, John? Oh, John.
He's nodding.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, we'll go a little longer. John says it's okay.
Stamp of approval.
Tonight, Rob Tillian, we announced that, Carrie Bean, Lisa... I got it spelled out and I forgot how to say it. Lisa
like
Dulitis. I'm going to spell it Delight.
Yeah.
Lisa Dulitis. Jake is with us too, and of course Leland. Rob, we don't get enough out of you. What do you got to say for yourself? Welcome back. Nice to have you back with us. Boy, he looked so surprised. Like he was like, Rob, how you doing?
No, it's nice.
Get it, move in close to the thing and talk so we'll be able to hear you. There you go.
It's nice being back here. I had fun the last time I was here.
Yeah, last time we had a good show last time. I liked that. We had a nice mix of folks. We had Jason Streets with us and Dominic Posey. I got his name right. I kept saying Posey, but now I got Posey. Now Delitis. I'll have to remember that one.
You got it right there.
Yeah. I can remember the first names, but the last names I'm not real good at. And then Rodden Powell was with us too. So, yeah, that was kind of a nice mix. I liked that. We had a good time with that show. That was nice, yeah. So, you're with Jack with Paranormal Chicago and with Mike. Mike was supposed to come on too, but I'm sure something happened with his work schedule or something. And I always make that clear to all the guests that we bring on here. We try to book folks to come and do the show and that. And please, nobody take time off from work or reschedule yourself or anything. You come on when you're able to come on. This is just a fun thing, and I don't want anybody missing time from work or, getting a babysitter for their kids or whatever it may be, you come on when you're able to come on. If you can't come this time, we can always schedule it for the next time. So, Rob, we're glad to have you back with us. And
Yeah,
you're going to
thank
be
you.
here representing Paranormal Chicago. That's the group you're with, right?
Yeah, it's not necessarily like an official group.
Oh.
It's mostly just Paranormal Chicago is mostly Jack's thing,
Mhm.
but like Mike's a part of it. I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
I believe Anthony's a part of it.
Yeah, Anthony Penna. Yeah,
yeah.
Anthony's been on here a couple times, too. Yeah. He's a nice guy, too. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Anthony.
Yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, we've just been ghost hunting at different places. I know I've done Indiana State. That was not with Jack though. Mostly at Cicero Church. That's where I've gone the most.
Oh, the Cicero Church. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, you realize, of course, that's not the original location.
Oh no?
Oh, you've been investigating there, and you don't even know that. The original church was across the street.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's torn down, and then they moved it to where it's at now. See? No more said about that. Next time when you go investigate, just keep that in mind. But you come up with some stuff over
What's
there?
across the street now? Anything, or is it a parking lot?
It looked like it was just some houses.
We got to break into that house, see what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a-
Yeah, because very
Some
often
spirit
it's
boxes
on
over
the
there.
land. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you know if they're just the ghosts are just going across the street, but mostly they're just chilling at people's houses?
Well, wait a minute. That's what I was hoping to get
Just
from
kinda
you.
visit.
You're the one that
Yeah.
does the investigations there. That's what I was hoping to get from you. You guys got any evidence in there and some things that you can...
Yeah, I mean, there was a possible apparition photo we got. Not too sure about that one. But we have gotten a lot of voices. There was one time where I was walking into this one room, and I thought, like, people were taking turns going into this one room. And I was going in, and I thought someone was in there because I heard a voice say something at me. And then when I went in there, I realized the last guy had already left. So that was really weird.
So it wasn't somebody that was with your group, so it was something else that you were kind of hearing.
No, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
There was another time where my friend Mike,
Oh, yeah.
he was asking for permission to enter the room. We had this like device. It was called like a Flux 2, and it blinks one side for yes, one side for no.
Oh,
You
yeah,
ask it,
yeah,
like-
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The
like
little
binary
handheld
questions.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what those are, yeah, okay.
And it kept saying no. It kept saying, "Can I come in the room?" It kept saying no.
But he went in anyway.
Yeah, he went in anyway. And then he started feeling an intense pain in his back. And we decided to check it out, like shine some flashlights on it. And it turned out there were like 3 big scratches on his back.
Oh, my,
And we actually
okay.
filmed them forming. You should have
You
that
filmed
footage.
the scratches forming?
Yeah.
Wow, that I would like to see.
Yeah, I can see if you
So,
see
like,
this
there was
one.
nothing on his back, nothing.
No, it was just like a
Well, no,
little,
but
and then it slowly
I have
got
to ask you,
worse.
what made you want to film his back? Just because he said
Yeah, because he
something's
said
hurting,
he was
my
feeling
back's
something
hurting?
back there.
So he pulled his shirt up and filmed it, and then there was nothing there. The back was clear, and then all of a sudden, red scratch marks
Yeah.
kind of showed up. Oh, that would be
How many?
It was either 3 or 4. He has the film, but the weirdest part was how it retracted. Like it formed, and then only minutes later it already like healed up.
Okay, interesting.
That happened to one of our girls at the haunted house, actually.
Oh,
In
really?
the trailer, that's why I asked. She had 3 big, long scratch marks that were like this.
That
About
big?
3 feet.
Jeez, how big is her back?
Oh, man.
Jeez.
No,
That's-
well, I was exaggerating.
She's some kind of
No,
Amazon or something.
they
or,
were big though. They were big.
Yeah, she's a very tall girl.
She just walked in the trailer. I told her not to go in there yet. She did it anyway. She comes out, she said my back's burning, so we lifted up her shirt in the back. 3 big scratch marks.
Oh,
So
man.
the
Yep.
trailer is part of, and this is Jake, just in case anybody wants to know. The gentleman that we just spoke with was Rob. I think I introduced Rob.
Yeah.
Jake is speaking now. He just kind of added in there, so I want to make sure people know who you are. Jake works for Kildare Haunted House over in Bridgeview, and they're, when we say Kildare Haunted House, they're not like well, I guess they are a haunted house.
Well-
but they're like they're one of the haunted house type things that you go through, in the month of October, and they do such a great job with their characters and everything, and you go through and you get a real good fright. You get scared to death going through there. But I guess there is some other activity that does go on there too.
Well, no, we can't have stuff hurting people, so
No.
had to do necessary measures to get that out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for my voice.
So now
by
is
way,
the
I lost
trailer?
it.
What,
Just
what
thought,
did
yeah.
you do? Like a sage or?
Yeah, saging, crystals, salt.
Okay,
What kind of salt do you, some people, different things about the salt. What salt do you use?
That I'm not sure because the lady brought it. Her name's Karen. I don't remember.
Oh, so
her
she
last
did
name.
the
Yeah.
saging and the salting and the
Yeah.
whole thing and that, and then
Usually
it was
black-
ready to go into
black
the oven
salt,
and roast.
black
So
salt.
anybody listening, Don't be afraid. You will not be harmed.
Well, that's true. I never thought of that. I probably shouldn't have said it that way because then maybe people, they listen to this in February. By the time October rolls around, they're going to, sometimes this adds to it, though. Then people do want to go more. So, yeah, because it's a nice thing. It's a nice family place, and it's a nice spot to go in that. But sometimes activity does go on here, too. Sometimes the activity could be a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's, like we mentioned before, it's the land that it's over. So the trailer could have been over something that happened there many, many years ago. Sometimes somebody brings something in. They bring an attachment in. Something they have with them they bring in, and you just don't know what would cause that. But the same type of thing, they were scratched. Now, to me, in my knowledge with the paranormal in the years that I've been studying it and that, to be actually touched and scratched and that kind of thing by something is kind of a rarity. But I guess this seems to be happening more frequently because I hear more people talking about it. Seeing things, hearing things, yeah, those are pretty common occurrences. But to actually get kind of touched or harmed by something is a little more of a rare thing to have happen. That's why I'd be very interested in seeing that film footage of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see if Mike can get that for you.
Yeah. Carrie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yes, it's good to be back. I was here around the same time, Valentine's Day.
Was it around the Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I've been trying to
right
get
around,
back since then.
Right
but
around that
it just
time,
never,
yeah.
I have my Monday nights off now, so.
Yeah, so now you can come on when you feel like coming on. Of course, that's assuming that you need your rest, too. You know how that is when you're working and you're running a shop and you're doing all these events and everything that you do. Carrie runs a little shop over there in Crestwood called Moonlight Bean. Go ahead, give us the address.
We are at 5561 West 127th Street. That's right at 127th in Central. So that's Crestwood, Illinois, and we're right off of 294.
Yeah, so they're right there, and it's a neat little shop. Go in there; they have all sorts of neat little. If you're into all the, I don't know, what we call them? Like I don't want to call them goth or dark arts or things. I would say oddities and curiosities.
Yeah.
All that type of stuff. Yeah, just a hodgepodge of stuff. A nice little store to look around, spend a little time in there looking around on things, and then also too, Carrie they run all sorts of neat events over there. They do different paint nights. This Friday night, they're doing a trivia. You go ahead and talk about all that stuff. It's your store.
Oh, okay.
Well,
we do. We started out in haunted houses, doing haunted houses. We still do have a home haunt we do called Frightmare on Forest View. So I'll have to check that out around Halloween. But in our shop, we do mostly horror items, but we do incorporate other like holistic items, also spiritual items, vintage items. But then we started doing workshops in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bob does a workshop there for us.
I've been there for a couple of things with them.
Of his palm reading, and then we do paint nights there. So the different paint nights we do are usually geared towards something like the skulls, or we do monster paint nights. Like you get to pick your monster gnome. Like we have Scream, the guy from Scream, and Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy, The Exorcist. Last Friday we did for Valentine's Day, and I had a full class. We had they painted anatomical hearts, and then made creepy Valentines. And then Bob was there also, read some palms for us.
Yeah, get in there and do a few things here and there and that. So it's a nice little store. There are different activities, different things going on. So you can come for one of the classes, one of the events that they're doing, and you get to take something home with you, and you can do a little shopping in there, and you also meet interesting people that come in there, and it's really neat. It's a nice little homey atmosphere in that, and Carrie and her husband Dave run the shop there, and they do such a nice job with that. And they're very likable people. They're very pleasant to speak with and nice to have. So yeah, it's just a nice homey little atmosphere. You wouldn't think of that type of a store as being a place like that, but they're it's
we
very nice.
Still have people that are kind of like scared to come in, but they do make it in. But now this Friday coming up, we're doing a horror movie trivia night. So we want to compete for prizes and just a fun night, And Bob will be there if any readings.
Yeah.
And then we will be having in March a night with Bob. We'll be coming and doing a night on vampires.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I forgot all about it. We changed it. Yeah. Going to talk about vampires. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to have we tried doing these. We've done one so far. We're doing these like ghostly nights where it's like a night of storytelling and things like that. And then we have pizza. We have some refreshments.
Yeah.
So people get to socialize in that, and we talk about different stuff. And I'll be there talking all about vampires. Everything you want to know about vampires. We cover all the facts, all the fictions, different things about them, and got to figure out a way to do some of these programs on the flash drive on the computer.
Yeah.
So I'll get photos though for this one, because this one I need photos.
Yeah.
Because I do a little trivia there too, where I got pictures of the vampires. You got to name. We do the movie vampires
Right.
too, because of course, vampire makes it into pop culture very much so. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be heading down to Vampire Country.
Oh yeah.
At the end of this month, and then another week, not 2 weeks actually, not this week, next week, and down to New Orleans, which is great for vampires and also great for voodoo. Interested in heading over to the Voodoo Museum down there too, and doing a little work on that, because I'm working on a voodoo program. I work on these different things here and there. I like to work on stuff, and then I sort of put it on the back burner and maybe start something else, and then I get back to it again and that, and like doing these different programs and stuff. But vampires, yeah, did a lot of research on vampires and that, so be talking about that and sharing that with folks. So that'll be another event. Look for all their events with Moonlight Bean on Eventbrite. That's where they have them. You can sign up there. You can also pay at the door too if you want to come in. You pay at the door there when you get there with those. So Carrie, keep your eyes on their store and what's going on there. They always have something new going on. And then Carrie, of course, is all over the place. She does shows all over the place, everywhere. She at the shows. That's of course when she is in bar hopping, but when she's not doing that, she does all the shows and stuff. So she's, in addition to running the store and the shop, she's at all these different park districts and different events and different paranormal cons and paranormal fests and all these other things they're doing. And lately they're doing so many of these paracons. They're like having one a month. So you see Carrie around all over the place. Yeah. And then we've got Lisa Dulitis. Dulitis. I remembered it. Dulitis. Yeah. And you also work with Carrie.
Yeah, I do, and especially now, I had an estate sale company, and that kind of went south. So
what happened to that? There weren't enough estates up for sale, or what?
I had issues with my former business partner.
Well, the heck with that. We've all had those issues.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Another show.
Go into business for yourself.
Well, that's what she's doing now.
Yeah.
So now I've been. I consider myself like a vintage reseller, and then I've been starting to get into events, and then I make stuff. I have some of my stuff in Carrie's shop already. Yeah. And
what's the biggest the hottest item in resale, like in estate sales? What's like the hottest? I know dining room sets, china and tape. Forget it. They don't want that passe. They don't want that. What are they looking for?
Furniture, you have to give it away for literally next
year.
Yeah,
young folks just don't want it anymore. They don't. No. And china and tableware, forget it. No one wants it.
No, that stuff doesn't sell either. Like glassware, sports stuff.
Oh, sports, yeah, I'm sure that would still go very well.
Yeah.
Vintage clothing. Women are into the vintage clothing very much so.
Pyrex, anything like that.
Oh, Pyrex?
Yeah, like...
I didn't know they were looking for dental work. Pyrex, that's those dishes.
The dishes.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I have quite
What's the most unusual thing you've ever found? Like when you open up, because you go into these houses and you go and you box things up and you take them out. What's the most unusual thing you found? You said, what the heck was this doing here?
Yeah.
Oh, at the one house with elephants?
Yeah.
There was, they had it as decor. It was a Greek family. They had this giant tree. And it was made out of a tree stump.
Okay.
But it was it was beautiful, but it was huge. They had to hire people. I mean, it was like over 1,000 pounds.
And they had this thing like sitting in the living room.
It was like,
or
there were
something,
like elephants carved into it.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
so it was like a sculpture.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, we found a lot of teeth. So people always save their their kids' baby teeth, and then they keep them forever.
Shades of the Nazi concentration camp. Oh my God!
Yeah, we've had lots of teeth and lots of things that you probably don't want your kids to find. So that's why you have to kind of be careful what you leave hidden in
George
your house.
Washington had a watch fob with, I think, his tooth in it, like his last. Because George Washington, as everybody knows, had bad teeth and wore dentures, and he had like a watch fob made, and one of his teeth was in the fob. Yeah, and they actually have a set of George Washington's dentures in the Chicago Historical Society. They have a set of his dentures there. So
no, when she started doing the estate sales, we had a lot of conversations about this, and now we all in our family have that one person that when we die, go to our house because we might have stuff you got to go through first before somebody else comes in. Because she's found some, come across some.
There's been, especially like people who passed who have no family, and it's like
that's kind of sad.
Family who's taken over, or like a friend or something, and they're like, we went through everything, And then we would go through it and be like, they didn't go through everything.
No,
we would
no.
find some things that, again, you wouldn't want other people to find.
You know what's also sad about those two is pictures. Like family pictures
Yeah.
and things. No one's going to know who
No,
they are
you
or
know
who they
what?
were. Or, you won't,
It seriously, it breaks my heart because my family on both sides, they were like poor, like immigrants, and they didn't have a lot of, so there's like, I think of our grandparents, there's one photo, I think, of their wedding.
Yeah.
There's really no photos. And so you'll have these families that they're like, yeah, I don't know any of those people. If you want to like throw them away or do whatever.
Yeah.
So actually, I identified very much with this one house we did. This one woman, it was like I could see myself as this woman, like if my life went a different way. And so I actually have a picture of her on my refrigerator because the family didn't want to keep any of the photos.
Oh.
And so she's like kissing the Blarney Stone. I'm like, I've always wanted to kiss the Blarney Stone. So it was like a perfect photo. But that always breaks my heart when people.
Some people
just
kiss
wanna
the
get
Barney
rid of
Stone
it.
and some people kiss other things. That's how they get ahead in life.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, pictures. It always hurts me. when
Welcome
we get
back,
rid of
Jake. I
them.
thought we lost you. I saw you playing. I saw you playing with your phone there. I thought we bored him. He's making calls or whatever he's doing.
Or he's setting up somebody to hide his stuff.
Not a trick. Yeah.
He's like, wow, I never thought of
That's a
that.
good idea.
Yeah, but certain stuff like and eventually maybe this stuff will turn around, and then later on people will start collecting the furnishings. They'll start collecting Chinaware again and stuff like that. For a long time, I remember it was like the big status symbol to have the nice china on the table and all that. It was like the thing, that showed that you kind of made it in the world when you had a nice table setting at it. And now they could care less about that. Everybody
See,
uses.
all my stuff is old, so
Mhm.
it's funny because my kids are very. I have a 16 and a 19-year-old. My 19-year-old could care less about vintage. She likes anime, but my younger one, she's super into vintage, so she like understands everything. My whole kitchen is all like 50s, 60s, little 70s and stuff. All my furniture is old because that stuff like holds up. Like,
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
I mean, it's terrible to move because it weighs like.
Some people don't like
ridiculous amount,
collecting antiques, especially mirrors, because of
I've
the
heard
attachments
that.
with mirrors. Yeah,
Yeah.
many people I've talked to, they call me actually. They say, Bob, we have some trouble with this, and when you see. Well, of course, there's that superstition when you look in the mirror and you see yourself. Not only do you see yourself, but you see like the double image.
Mhm.
That's not a good sign. And so a lot of people just don't like collecting mirrors,
I
or they'll
don't
have the
like
mirror
mirrors.
resilvered. They'll
Yeah.
take it. They have they buy an antique dresser or something, and then they take the mirror and they have the mirror washed and they have it resilvered because supposedly that gets rid of whatever images that mirror is holding, whatever paranormal. You ever experienced any of that kind of stuff, Rob, in your work with the paranormal?
I know there was one roadhouse. I think it was a Texas roadhouse we went to, and it had a haunted mirror there.
See?
It was reported to be a portal.
Yeah.
There were some really freaky images the owner has of that mirror.
Yeah,
I don't
mirrors
know
can
if-
be kind of tricky that way. Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure some of the images, just from because we looked at more than just what the owner had. Like some of them did honestly just look like some smudges. There were other ones. There was one that was like you changed the contrast in the image, and it looks like a little girl. It's really freaky.
Okay. Yeah. So see, there's something to it. Yeah. Yeah. Some people don't even like collecting antique furnishings. I collect. Well, not so much furnishings and that, but I collect old phonographs and old records. I did that all my life. I've collected that, and nothing, I mean, of course you're hearing the recording in that, but I've never gotten anything bad from them or
I
anything.
brought home something, and
Yeah.
I don't. To this day, I don't know what it was, and I haven't gotten rid of it. So, but
You don't know what it was, but you brought it home. It
no,
just.
because I bring home a lot of stuff.
Like something
so-
must have attached.
So something
been
was
attached.
attached. To
Oh, sure. And you
something.
brought something to the house then, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. And
Yeah.
well, actually, I think I know what house is. Anyways, the house was not a good. The person who passed was not a good person.
Oh, my.
Did bad things. Anyways, within about a week, like I would like text Carrie. She'd be cracking up because my dad would be in the living room. My dad lives with us, and he would be like, "Oh, come on!" He'd be like getting all mad, and I'm like, "What?" Okay, so I have kids, so we have like adult channels blocked, but like my TV would turn on its own
Okay.
and try to go to adult channels and stuff, and it was like happening constantly. The TV would just turn on and try to go to adult channels, and it would start getting louder and stuff like that, and we'd be cracking up, especially like we'd see some of the titles, but it was happening for months. So then finally I kept saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna sage," and then
And then nothing. Then you're.
yeah. But then I actually did it, and it did stop for a little bit, and then it like slowly, like every once in a while, will just, you know, I think it's with it likes my dad or something, because it's always when my dad's around.
Possibly. That's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes the attachment attaches to one person.
Yeah.
So there's different ways these things happen.
I definitely think that
Sometimes
energy
with
goes
the,
into things.
Oh, yeah. And with the paranormal, too, sometimes the right person, the wrong person, not necessarily the wrong person, but maybe just the person they want to communicate with, you know.
Right.
Sometimes what I find, too, with the paranormal, sometimes people that have, like, the least amount of religious convictions seem to be very open to paranormal, and they seem susceptible to stuff.
Well, I don't see it, but I
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
have the least
Yeah.
conviction.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
Well, in some cases.
I've
Some
yeah,
cases
yeah,
that
me
happens,
too.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've had stuff happen to you, Leland?
No, I just am not a very spiritual or religious person.
I thought you were.
Nor am I.
No, just
No.
raised Lutheran.
Okay.
So I know all about it, but I'm
Yeah.
not here to yuck anybody's yum. But
Yeah, no.
it's not my jam, but I get it. I don't know. You got a guy right here, though, at the end of the table. You should hook him up with your dad, and maybe you guys do a little walkthrough, see what happens.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Well, actually, my dad does it. It's funny because my dad doesn't technically like really believe in the stuff, but then he's like, we'll joke like, well, it's the ghost again and stuff. And we've had like my building was built in the 1800s, so like we've had weird stuff in the building. Anyways, my brother was in town, and we were like joking about it, and all of a sudden. There was banging on the floorboards, and you could physically feel it. And there's nobody in the basement, and just weird stuff has happened in there, anyways. But yeah, my dad like makes a joke out of it. But
Yeah,
It's
stuff
so-
happens, yeah.
It's so weird. I had very similar things happen to me. It was actually when I was a kid, a long time ago, at my grandma's house. And the TV would go on and off. It would flip through channels on its own. There'd be phone calls, and no one would be there. That I never experienced.
Knocks on the door and the doorbell. I've had that one.
Yeah,
I've had that
was-
one. Still do get that one.
Yeah, that one was more so my parents at the time, but they pick up the phone. No one was there. I don't know, like doors would move on their own. There's just something really weird about that place. There were, I think, a couple tragedies that happened there with my family. But it was, I mean, that place was weird. I think it haunted, maybe, I don't want to bring all my family into this, but like my sister, she would have dreams of something chasing her. And there's a lot, but basically it's the same kind of stuff you were talking about, where it was like the TV would turn on its own. Just weird, small little
Stuff with the electronics and things you can't
Yeah,
explain, and that,
dreams.
you know, and dreams are
Yeah.
a good one too. Yeah.
I had something crazy happen at my condo when I first moved in. So I was sleeping on my couch. I went to bed at like 8 o'clock. And I woke up, and I remember shutting every light off the TV. I woke up at 11 p.m. for some reason. Every light was on, including the balcony light, and my door was half open, like to get in the place. And everything was like dead-bolted locked.
Now,
Sounds
that's
like-
strange.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like somebody broke into your house. Was looking
Yeah.
around,
No,
and they
nobody
saw
broke
you.
Yeah,
in.
you were in just a very deep sleep, and you never heard anything. They came right in, and yeah.
No, people at my
Yeah.
condo are awesome.
Yeah, see, and there again, now there's the paranormal. Something happens, something you have no explanation for, no logical explanation. It's something out of the norm. Paranormal experiences. And I can't tell you how many people have these experiences happen, but they still doubt the paranormal. They say, oh, well, it was something, just some coincidence. They blow it off. I says, you better start looking at it maybe a little more seriously. It's not all
Yeah.
just coincidence.
She's looking at me.
see, I believe in the paranormal. I
Yeah.
believe in energy. I definitely had experiences. We did this one house. It was in Kankakee, right off the river. It was a creepy house. The woman did not want us in that house, and I was having all this weird stuff, and I kept feeling like somebody was like following me up the stairs, and I kept seeing stuff out of the corner of my eye. But I didn't say anything because my daughter was going to be working the next day in the basement, and so I didn't want to freak her out. My daughter goes and works, both of them actually, and my older daughter was like, Mom, I'm not going back tomorrow, like I need a break, and she wouldn't tell me why. My younger one was like, Mom, let me tell you, every time I felt like somebody was following me up the stairs, I kept seeing stuff. So it was like all this stuff, and I didn't repeat it to her. So I definitely know that there is something, and I think there's a lot out there that you can't explain. However, like, have I, like, physically, like, I've seen stuff out of the corner of my eye, but have I, like, physically seen stuff, or like you see in movies, like, things crashing and so, I mean, like, I've seen subtle things. So it's like part of me is skeptical in the back of my head, like, did that really happen, or did I think that happened, or
Yeah.
you know?
I think most people, I think your logical reasoning, that's what you try to say. You try
Right.
see in reality with the paranormal, I always tell people a good deal of what you do in the paranormal is disproving it. Because, okay, something happens, you're seeing a shadow, you're seeing something, okay, what would cause this?
Right.
Did it happen at a certain time of the day? Was it something with the electronics? Did the light strike it a certain way? Were the window shades, something, whatever it could be, any one of 1,000 different reasons. When you exhaust all these sources, you go through everything and you say, we can't explain this. And 3 or 4 people are seeing the same thing and we have no explanation for what's doing this. Okay, we've got something out of the norm. Now we have something paranormal. Boom.
Right.
That's it, When you can explain it, you say, okay, now we know what that is. All right, that kind of disproves it. So a lot of what you do with the paranormal is try to disprove it, rather than just putting the evidence out there and saying, oh, yeah, we've got something here. This is it, No, look at it first, examine it, go through all the sources, look through everything before you start saying, yeah, we really got something here. Because you may not have what you think you have.
Well, I think that's what the skeptics. It kind of fuels them when
sure.
people right away are like, nope, it's haunted, it's a ghost.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, is it though? And then they start, and then you have all these ghost shows where like, did you hear that? And it's like, no, I didn't. And they replay it, and it's like, I still don't hear
Well,
it.
the ghost shows, and just about every show that we do here, this comes up. And I'm usually the one that says it. I usually say a couple of things. I usually say about the Ouija boards, and then this usually comes up. And I think it's something that needs to be resaid. The ghost shows and all those are good thing, bad thing. They're good. I mean, they're nice that they have those on there, and it puts the paranormal out for people to see.
Right.
And maybe somebody that's not that familiar with it or whatever, maybe you look at this and maybe this will spark an interest for you. And you say, yeah, this would be something that I would like to look a little into more and maybe get involved with this. But then the other side to it is that sometimes it presents it falsely to people. Mm-hmm. And people will go on an investigation, and you know this, Rob, we all know this, that have done these investigations. You don't go out there in an hour and come out with photos and come out with videotape and come out with voice recordings. Sometimes you're there 24 hours, 12 hours, you come up with nothing. Sometimes you get it. If you just by chance happen to be there for 15 minutes and you're getting some kind of evidence, wonderful and great, but it's usually not the way it works. So the shows, they do serve a good purpose, that if it does get somebody genuinely interested in the field, good. But then by the same token, too, sometimes people watch these shows, they get interested in it, and they think they're going to go to a place for an hour, and they're going to get what they get. But, you're watching a show that's very staged and very,
Exactly.
Well, they could have days and days of footage that they've
Sometimes
went
never.
through. Yeah.
Sometimes never. Sometimes you go
And
to a
you're seeing
location
it
you
in that
never-
hour.
Yeah, sometimes you
Because
don't get anything.
I had a couple, I've been
Yeah.
with Jack's Investigations and another group, a lot of my customers, have been going on the tours and stuff. And the same one of the feedback that I've heard from a few customers were like, well, it was kind of boring. There was nothing. I didn't see anything. And I'm like, well, the ghosts aren't there waiting for you to come and
Right.
visit them. Like,
Yeah.
I go, you see the shows, that 1 hour of footage that they got
Yeah,
something
exactly.
could be days and days and months of
They're
footage that
enhancing
they.
it, and maybe they don't even have any evidence. Maybe they're they're staging that evidence just to enhance the show,
Yeah.
And like you say, it's a good thing, bad thing. If it does spark someone's interest in it, that's great. But then by the same token, too, I don't like the idea that it would kind of give a false
Well,
impression.
you heard about the illusionist. I forget his name.
Oh, yeah.
The one that he worked on all these ghost hunting shows to basically booby trap these places.
Are you talking about Randy?
No, not Randy. This is
Randy was more psychics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this person, he's hired by like TLC and stuff like that to basically rig all these places so that when these people do show up to investigate for the television, they're authentic reactions because they think it's real, but really it's Rick that was there the night before setting up
Staging
the
it.
wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I read that article years ago.
Is
I
that
got to find it.
the whistleblower for one of the ghost shows? or
Probably.
something?
I remember reading it years ago. I'm just like, and it made sense. And I think Randy was still alive when that happened. He was like, oh, I totally believe that. That's
Yeah,
what they do.
yeah.
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 Because these people are terrible actors. So, like, you can't
they
be like,
really
okay,
are.
now in this scene, you're going to see a ghost. But if you have a
But not
tripwire.
even the TV people. I can't tell you how many people are out in the field, and Bob, here we got this. You got to listen to it. And I'm listening to it, and I'm like, yeah. Don't you hear that? I'm like,
Sounds like static.
Right.
no, I don't.
Right.
I'm sorry. Oh, that's because you don't have a trained ear. Well, wait a minute. What do you mean? Now, why do I need a
Exactly.
if this is, my thing always is, and I've gotten different answers for this. If these spirits are genuinely trying to communicate with me, or with anyone for that matter, Why aren't they doing it in a way that we're capable of understanding it? Oh, because in the spirit world they talk in a different lingo, they talk in a different level, and this and that. No, wait a minute.
But now we have the tools to, like, back in the
Thank you.
60s, it's like we don't have a way to get down. And now it's like I take my MacBook Pro and be like, all right, we can even look at the spectrograph.
So that's why
and
I'm
really
a little,
dig in the audio.
That's
Does
why I'm a
anybody
little
have the
dissuaded that way with
S-Box?
some of that, you know.
The what?
S-Box.
What's that?
Ghost.
Oh, there are so many different
Spirit
boxes.
box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
there's
called
so many different
S-Box.
ones.
Oh, I wouldn't
Yeah, he
believe
would
that at
probably
all.
know.
I wouldn't believe any of that.
You know, wait, can I tell you something though? Okay, so we did a tour. Jack was that's actually the first time I met Jack. He was our tour guide at the Watsika House, and so we're in the basement, and they have, I forget what they call their box.
Anahana or something.
Anahana, yeah.
Anahana box.
And
Is that
so
like
they,
the same thing? As the...
yeah, pretty much. It has a bunch of different things, and then they have crystals and all this other stuff to like really hone in on the energy. And but it sounds like a lot of gerbil.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but then they tell you to record it. And so I want to believe. So I record it, and let me tell you, I text her. I was like, I threw my phone across the room. I'm not even kidding. So my daughter has a not common name, and it clearly said Emery, and it was like, okay, nobody there knew my daughter's name, or anything like that. And my daughter was, so then I'm like, maybe I'm nuts and I'm hearing it. I asked everyone else in my house, I'm like, what does this say? And they're all like, oh my God, it said Emery. And I'm like, I know. And then when Carrie touched the box, it clear as day, now we didn't hear it there, but clear as day said Dave, who was her husband.
Her husband, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was so weird. I'm like,
But we didn't hear it there. It was she
Right, it was the
recorded it
recording,
all, and
yeah.
then we were listening to
Yeah.
it later.
And this
yeah.
is my 2 cents with those things. And I'm not discrediting, or I'm not that guy.
I
But
got a feeling I know exactly what he's going to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
But go ahead and
But
say
the thing
it.
is,
Yeah.
so I work in audio.
Uh-huh.
That's my actual profession. And like the way there's like a big problem with frequencies in the modern world, that when I started doing audio years ago, wireless microphones were on these frequencies. Now everybody's eating up those frequencies. So now there's only so many frequencies. That's just how it works. With this spirit boxes, they're going and they're cutting through basically from like 100 hertz all the way up to 500 hertz or plus. Well, what's on those hertz? Cell phones, air traffic control, illegal microphones.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to use
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
So I'm not saying. I mean, it's very weird that like Emery is a name I wouldn't really think
That's what
they
I'm
hear.
saying.
I'm not sure if the local DJ at the college station's named Emery, but
Yeah.
that's where I'm like, I'm not trying to discredit, but
Right.
also I'm like, you need to take that with a heavy grain of salt.
oh,
Yeah.
no, totally.
Yeah, I'm
Well-
always really skeptical of those spirit boxes just because of
Yeah.
what you just said.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised to hear. I thought I was the only one that
No,
was skeptical,
and-
and you all are.
no,
so,
no.
Yeah.
I'm even still skeptical of it, except I did have that experience, and I'm like, and I'm definitely one of those people, how, like I said, like, I want to believe, but then you have people who will turn around and be like, oh no, did you hear this? And like, it's this. And
It's
this
nothing.
And that.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
I know.
and it's nothing, but then
You can make it.
That's why I asked. I didn't even say like anybody in the like. I'm like, what does this say? And they were all like, it was just weird. It was
That's why I
something
like
that,
to.
like,
That's why, to be
couldn't
honest with you,
explain.
I like working with a good medium.
Yeah, like you
I
were
do.
saying, a good
Yeah.
medium.
I like to work with a good medium. Yeah. hmm
Are you doing? They're doing a tour or an investigation this weekend.
Oh, the
I heard.
Thornton Distillery?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I'll
now
be there.
they'll have a medium.
Yes, yes.
So they have a medium with them, Ziamora, who is pretty good. I wish we could go, but we already have
Where's that at?
another commitment.
Oh, Thornton.
It was at what is it? The Thornton Distillery
Yeah,
Where-
it's
where is
actually
that?
just
in
the Thornton
Thornwood, I
Oh,
guess.
I have no idea
Yeah,
where that is.
Thornwood, Illinois. Is that
Yeah.
where it's at? Yeah.
Is the distillery still open, or is it
Yeah.
abandoned?
Yeah, it's still
No,
open.
it's open. It's a
Jack,
pretty cool
uh,
place,
Jack
actually.
had his last Paracon there.
Oh, is
Oh,
that the
cool.
one we were
Yeah.
at? Oh, that place is super
Because
cool.
it is cool for the whole fact that it's very old.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for me to go into such an old place in the architecture, that's draws me in. And then they have like an old well in there, so you go down in this basement in this old well. And I'm not even kidding you. I'm big into horror movies, so my first thought was like Silence of the Lambs. I mean, that's what it was like. I'll show you pictures. It really was like that
Yeah, it
going down
was.
there. So it was cool. I didn't really get anything myself from going down there.
No.
But other people said they did. But I'm, again, kind of like you, where I'm skeptical. Now, I've been around so many people that have seen stuff, felt things. I haven't personally. Do I believe that it Yeah, I do. But I'm like, why won't you show yourself to me? But like we've talked about, Bob. Some people, it just doesn't happen.
Sometimes,
like,
it does. Sometimes, and now sometimes too, you have 2 people, 3 people. One person is picking up on stuff, and the other 2 people are going nothing. They're getting nothing.
Yeah.
It's always great when you have other people that can see or experience the same thing, because then you have witnesses that can back it up. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes, for whatever reason, just one person is honing in on it, or that entity or that spirit wants to, for whatever reason, communicate with that person, and that's why they're honing in on that person. Or just the theory, like the religious convictions. Maybe that person out of the group has the least amount of religious convictions. So if this is a bad entity, I can get to that person before I can get to them. So different reasons, just different theories that I have about that.
Yeah.
I'll throw this out to Rob or anybody else that listens to. I am more than willing to play with all the things you're not supposed to play with to make it happen.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'll do it. We'll see what happens.
No, I
Hell
won't.
yeah! I have a Ouija board nailed to my wall.
Oh, I won't do.
No, I don't do the Ouija board.
It's made by Parker Brothers.
I have.
It glows in the dark.
It's owned by
I have a
Hasbro.
glow in the dark one.
Ouija boards and Kabbalah is another
See,
one.
now I have.
I'm a
have
little funny
Ouija
about
boards all
Kabbalah,
over in my house, but I don't only because I don't want anything awoken in my house. Like,
I will say
we've been there 20 years. It's
I do have one good Ouija board story. I have very little paranormal things that happen. I had a wine and cheese Ouija board party for Halloween years ago, and I lived in a basement apartment. We're all playing with the Ouija board. Obviously, we're all goofing with it. It's not real, or at least for us, it's somebody who's moving it.
Yeah.
But anyway, a wine glass cracked and broke, and my roommate's girlfriend at the time, his hand got cut, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, that's a ghost." I'm like, "Or it's
she was holding
a wine glass, and it cracked." I'm like, or it's negative 15 degrees outside, and people are walking in and out smoking cigarettes, and I own because I don't go to estate sales. I own cheap wine glasses.
Or somebody was singing and they had a powerful voice.
Yeah. There was that going on too.
Is it live or is it Memorex?
It was definitely added to the creepy factor for Halloween, but I'm very suspect that it had anything to do with that Ouija board.
Yeah.
Ouijas are just a little funky. This is one of those things too that comes up just about every show that we do. Someone brings up the Ouija. Myself, and nobody has to listen to me. I'm certainly not the last word on any of this stuff, but I just don't like to fool around with Ouijas. I don't like to fool around with the Ouija board. Too many people are fooling around with some things. They don't know what they're doing, and they're doing it. They think they're doing it as an amusement or a parlor game type thing like that, and you really don't know what you're fooling around with.
No, that's why
you got to be careful.
Yeah.
And Ouija boards now are catching on to that too. Now, over the last few years, they've kind of gotten a bad rap, and sales in Ouijas have actually gone down. So what did they do? I know when I worked my years at Toys R Us, they used to be marketed in a box, and it had this hooded and cloaked, mysterious-looking figure on the box. It looked like the ghost from Christmas Future in The Christmas Carol, one of those kind of figures, so it was very mysterious-looking. But now, since the Ouijas are getting a bad name, what do? Oh, they put it in a box now, and it's all yellow and pink and blue, and it's marketed very cheerful-looking. It's almost something that they're gearing towards children or for younger, and they call it now a spirit board.
Well, that's
it's still a
copyright reason.
No,
because there was a movie that came out in the 1980s called Ouija.
Yeah.
They got sued by Parker Brothers because they can't call
Parker Brothers has the right to the
but also everybody gets scared of Ouija boards for whatever reason. I would argue the fact that with tarot cards too, they're market. I saw like Rick and Morty tarot cards.
There's all kinds of
they made a Garbage Pail Kids?
Yeah, they did.
Awesome.
They did. Yes,
the artwork is so great. It's phenomenal.
I gotta see
he's like, I'm going to get them.
I bought a set of tarot.
Those are essential.
I have a couple of sets of tarot cards, and one set I bought. A very unusual set of tarot cards. I think I got them at one of those like Five Below or the dollar store or something like that. I said, "Oh God, sure, for that price, I'll take them." They're different tarots. There's like no way. I have no idea how to use them.
Yeah,
I just have no. So I guess what you do now is what so many people that I'm finding now do with tarot is like not so much like what the cards say. It's not like the card says this and you look it up and that's what the definition of it is. You kind of give your personal interpretation of it. So 3 or 4 different readers could look at the same card and each come up with a different interpretation of what that card means or what that card means for that person. Right. So it's a little different.
But then I think that has a lot to do with the reader.
Oh, of course, with intuitiveness.
Because the same thing.
I
work with at the shop.
Oh, sure.
I work with a lot of different tarot readers.
Yeah.
Palm reader. Well, Bob's my only palm reader. I've never met another one. But a lot of different tarot readers.
I'm always the only palm reader. I don't.
And there's I'm noticing the difference in just like. I've worked with some that it's very generalized. Like they can read in and it's very generalized,
It's
like
very
you know,
generic.
yeah. Where I've worked with
Jason.
Jason was at your last one. He's very spot on with a lot of people. I've watched him,
Ridiculously
yeah,
so.
and even with you with your palm reading. So I think
you
that
as
really
well.
has to do with the person more. The person,
I will say
yeah.
I've interviewed some folks that do the tarot readings. I've had that done a few times. I think it's fun. It's kind of like, but it's so vague. It's so cold read.
Yeah.
I will say the only one that's ever not, the one that's only been kind of really spot on is Bob's palm when he did my palm. That one I was like,
yeah, for
you
sure.
touched on something in my one reading, and I'm not going to go into it because it's something family related, but it was something that nobody else besides, I think, me on the planet and this one person knew.
And now Bob.
And now Bob. Yeah.
And then when you
And
said
now
it,
the secret is out.
I'm not even kidding. I got all like, I instantly got like weirdly emotional and stuff, and I was like, oh.
I've had that, you know, I've had that where I've had that where I've
done.
done some readings with some people and they get kind of teary about it. And I'm like, stop right there. Wait a minute. This isn't supposed to be for that.
Oh,
This
no,
this
it
should
was
be a
just-
positive thing. I don't want it, you know.
So,
Yeah.
No, I think I just got overwhelmed
mhm.
that like
How you
hit
eat
on
it,
something
yeah.
That
Yeah.
like I said, like
That
no-
happens. Not only me. I mean, I'm not the only one that there are other people.
Oh
that do
no,
that are,
for
You
sure.
know, they hit it.
But like
yeah.
I had that group from next door to our shop from Joker's Wild. A lot of the men, you find very little men that believe. They'll be like, yeah, that's,
Oh, they don't care. They were all
yeah.
half drunk anyway. I could tell them anything.
But you,
it wouldn't matter.
But you did hit on some things that like they were like, wow, how would he even like nobody else?
The
knew
one guy
that,
could
you know?
barely stand up. I don't care what I told him. Oh yeah, you were great. You know, he don't. He, 2 minutes later, you don't remember what I told him. No, they
Yeah.
were. They were nice.
But then
people.
I have another reader. She doesn't. She's read in our shop a very few times, but I work with her at the Witcheramas, and she's another one. Ashar, like it's freaky. She's like spot on.
Yeah. Sometimes it happens that way. Yeah. Mhm.
It's just that person.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're somebody that like believes in like science, so you're probably the science, right? More in science. Well, I mean, scientists will even tell you like we don't use our whole capacity of what our brain is capable of. So I think other people are able to tap into those.
Yeah, it could
Parts.
Oh, I know a
You
lot
know.
of people that don't use their brains at all.
be it's looking at me
Yeah.
again.
Half
Yeah.
of society.
Yeah.
Sometimes you talk to people. I'm like, when I
Yeah.
run into something like that, it's better to just listen, and not even really say anything. Just listen.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's it.
nod type thing.
Just
Yeah.
okay. Oh, really? You know, do a George Burns, George and Gracie. You know, Gracie, how is your brother? And she goes on for an hour and a half, and George just goes, oh, really? And it's just better to do that. You know, yeah. Of course, not when I said George and Gracie. How many of you guys knew what I was talking about?
We do.
George
I don't know
George
about
Burns and
anybody
Gracie,
else.
George Burns and
I-
Alan,
This-
famous vaudeville
this was-
team, and
yeah. Well, I'm into all.
Yeah,
that
I was
stuff.
like, I know I
Yeah.
didn't. She
Yeah.
would know. Yeah.
Gracie was the star of the act. Gracie was she was the comedian. All George would have to say, Gracie, tell me about your brother, or tell me about your mother in San Francisco. And Gracie would go on with these wonderful stories for a half an hour, and George would just stand there with his cigar and nod, and every now and again say, and they were a great partnership. Yeah. Today, I don't know if the comedy would work, but for today, it was very funny stuff.
A lot of the
Yeah.
older comedy.
Yeah.
No.
They laugh at different stuff now. Things are just so
Yeah.
different. Yeah. So many of the old shows and stuff today, they just wouldn't relate.
No.
Even like the Honeymooners. Every time I see them, as many times I still laugh at them. But I think today, if they brought this back, they would look at it and they go, "What's so funny?"
Well,
They wouldn't.
Well, the biggest thing is,
Yeah.
is like, and I didn't think of it when I was a kid. I just watched it and I thought it was funny, and I liked their clothes. But like, now the whole like, basically where he's saying he's gonna like punch her in the face and stuff like that, but he says it in a funny way.
Bang zoom.
But,
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
Moon Alice and
You're
stuff
gonna
like
do the
that,
mambo.
right in the
You're gonna do the
kiss-up.
mambo on the moon.
Yeah, right in the kiss-up. And it's like, yeah, that wouldn't play too well nowadays.
Yeah, the shows are very for the time and for the era. Those were, the thing.
Yeah.
But now it's just things are different now. Humor is so different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are different now. Yeah, people are into different things now. They laugh at different stuff. It's just different. The world changes. Nothing stays the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Things go on. Yeah. Like me, I mentioned that I collect old recordings and that. There used to be this whole series of records. They were called Uncle Josh Weatherby's Laughing Stories. And they were like geared towards the rural market, so I guess the farmers like to laugh at themselves. And it was always like these mishaps of Uncle Josh. And the guy started off like doing this in circuses, and then he was like one of the first recording artists, like early 1890s. He started recording these, and they've remained very popular all through the years. And you listen to them now, and you think, what the heck was so funny about this?
Right.
But you got to think the humor then, the humor now, what they laughed at. What was so funny about it? even different plays and different things. Like I don't know if you've ever, like I mentioned, Abraham Lincoln. The play that Lincoln went to see when he was shot was called Our American Cousin, and it was a comedy. And I don't know if you've ever seen the play.
It's not very fun.
I watched it one time and I thought, you got to be kidding me. This is what they were laughing at in the 19th century? What's so funny? But it was just certain words or something they found very... Humor is different. You know, people laughed at different things.
It doesn't even have to go that far. Where was that thing in the 80s? Dwarf? The guy that would, like, pretend that he was a little person?
Oh, Tim Conway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dwarf on golf. And
Yeah.
Dwarf on, yeah.
But there's some dad back in the 80s that had all those tapes because he's
See, now that would be a little politically incorrect, though, because you're making fun of people that are...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, midget now isn't really the proper word to use
little
either.
person.
They would like little person?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't certain. Yeah, I don't know what they like. You know, you'd like to...
Or dwarf,
Try to-
because
They do like dwarf, if you call him a dwarf?
They prefer little person.
I would think if you call him a dwarf, you expect him to start going, hi-ho, hi-ho.
No, I think little person. I actually, a friend of ours. His name is Jim. He was actually at the Oddities convention that we just were at Saturday, and he was dressed up like a creepy Cupid. So somebody had asked him, and he said that little people. That you know, you were there. You seen.
Yeah, I wanted to put him on my shoulders and walk around with him.
Oh, gee.
But he loves doing that. He loves coming out. And he's actually been in horror, old like B-movie horror movies.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Really?
But they, again, you know, probably because,
I crack myself about this.
I think this has been the
I
most
broke
hot
Bob.
button episode we've done so far since I've been on.
This is
We had a
vibes
Satanist
in there.
on.
Funny, but it's funny, but it's
chill.
not funny.
Yeah.
I used to work for a video store. Remember video stores?
Oh.
Once upon a time?
Yeah.
Those were the
And I worked
best.
for a video store. That was like job number 3. I always had like 3 jobs going. And we used to have customers that were dwarf, or one time they came in and I heard these voices, and I'm looking like, who's, and then they were like behind the counter. I couldn't see them. And I just heard these voices coming, and I looked. I'm like, "Oh, there you are!" But now they had children, but their children were like, regular. They were, normal size, but the parents were, So I don't know. Sometimes maybe it skips a generation or whatever. It's it's not funny, but it's just funny because like I said, you couldn't see them. I couldn't see them there, and I heard the voices, and I'm like, "Where's this coming from?" And I look, "Oh, there they are. They're down there."
I never used to watch, I'm not a big reality TV person, but I did used to always watch, they had Little Women, and they had it in all different cities, and I used to love those shows. They were great.
Isn't that the one where Beth dies in Little Women?
Oh, that's the
That's the book.
No, they
Yeah.
the book. Yeah.
Segue
About the
into
5 sisters, the Civil War era.
Yeah.
segue.
That was a
We'll segue back to maybe the horror. So you have your trivia cards. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
We're gonna
So
do something.
Friday we are doing a little horror trivia. So I brought a little I brought a little gift here, and see if any of these guys here can get a question right. So I tried to choose something that really isn't
If this
too
is
hard,
this is too new, I won't get it. If it's older, I could do it.
okay.
Wait, how should we raise the hands, or
Yeah,
how we
how
just
do
do
you
this
wanna
before
do
we're
that,
all
Raise your hand.
Okay.
before we're all screaming
All
on the mics?
So here's one. So these are just kind of a little examples of the ones we're gonna compete with. But so who is also known as Mistress of the Dark?
Oh,
Elvira.
All right, that one I figured.
Or do I have to
yeah.
say her real name, Cassandra
No,
Peters?
no. I figured you'd get that one, Bob, because you said you didn't know a lot of the newer. Okay, and then here is another one that's this is an older one, too. But people should know. What is the name of the girl who's possessed in the movie The Exorcist?
Oh, her real name? Linda Blair.
Okay,
I
or
know
her
it.
name in the
That's
show.
my dog's name, because she rotates her head.
Reagan.
Reagan.
Yeah.
Okay, so see,
Yeah.
you guys are all getting them. So, all right. So, okay, so should I do one then? Whoever gets this one, we'll give the prize to. Okay.
It's gonna be the hardest one.
Oh man.
I'm not allowed to
What
play, so
18th
Yeah.
century
I don't know which
director?
one. No.
I didn't know they had. Well, they had plays. That would have been about it.
Oh, they're thinking. They're looking.
Which one?
I personally think the top one is harder.
Oh, I wouldn't even get that one because I didn't. Should I do that one?
Try it. Let's see what
Oh, man.
happens.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
What is the name of the main character who studies witchcraft in the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Actually, I did get this one.
It's Lily. No, that's the actress from a different show.
No.
Son of a gun, I forget.
So,
Was it
You
Sabrina?
got it, though.
Wow.
No.
I'm
you
there.
got it.
I know
You're
the
there.
actress.
Hey, you
You're
got it
there.
though.
I know the actress. I don't remember
Yeah.
her name in Buffy.
Am I supposed to answer now? Isn't it Willow?
Yeah. No,
Or isn't her name Willow? Wait, it's
remember.
from How I Met Your Mother.
yeah.
Yeah.
She was also on Not Another Teen. No. No. American Pie.
American Pie.
Great movie.
Willow.
Yeah.
I was right.
She won.
Yeah.
So I don't want her to win
No, but
because
don't
I
get
told
to
her.
win. No. Do the follow up.
Because-
Just back up. I don't get to win because of
Okay.
family, and that's
Michael Myers.
Oh, I can't do Michael Myers.
His mask was supposedly based on what TV actor?
Oh, the guy who played Captain Kirk.
He also has an amazing singing voice.
Oh no, the one time I always
got
know this
it.
man's
You
name.
got it.
You got it.
William
Oh,
Shatner.
everybody's so
Yeah,
fucked
yeah,
up
yeah.
about
William
that.
Shatner.
William
That was
Shatner.
based on William Shatner.
Yeah,
William
yeah.
Shatner. The
They
one
were-
Michael
Here, you
Myers
get to
guy
win.
was
Okay,
based on
so
William
funny,
Shatner.
funny little segue
Ooh.
with that. So they needed a mask, so they ran to the store, and I believe it was either,
No, this was in the 70s.
yeah,
early.
It was
right?
either William Shatner or I think Richard Nixon.
I could probably
It
see
was.
Richard
It was,
Nixon
yeah.
more than
Yeah.
And they went with William Shatner.
Do you know who was
so-
supposed
And
to?
then
You know
they
who was
And all
supposed
they
to
did-
the
do?
mask. They like painted it white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know who was supposed to
Yeah.
do and actually did start doing the role before William Shatner got the role? He actually had the role of Captain Kirk. You guys know who the actor was?
No.
Jeffrey Hunter.
Oh really?
Jeffrey Hunter was the original Captain
I don't know
Kirk.
who
He did
that
one of
is.
his King of
I
Kings.
wasn't-
Jeffrey Hunter.
Oh, I wasn't big on
He did one.
Star
He
Trek,
did the
yeah.
he did the preview episode of it. Fell down a staircase, broke his neck, and died. That
Oh
was
my
it.
God.
William
Oh.
Shatner came in as replacement. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was not supposed to be Captain Kirk.
No.
Obviously not.
Yeah,
No.
It's a
obviously
very
not.
aggressive way of doing that.
Yeah, right.
God.
But I do have some other chocolates and stuff, and I do
Look
have
at
some
that.
other things in my bag. I'll leave with you guys.
That was that mask was that Michael Myers mask.
Yeah,
was
they
based on
just
William
yeah
Shatner?
they
Ooh.
Yeah.
they like turned it inside out and like you said repainted it
Yeah,
or
they
Yeah.
something.
painted it.
Yeah,
It's bleached
Yeah.
all over.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just
Works.
yeah.
The shape.
There's
Yeah.
I forget the name of the movie, but William Shatner's in another movie before Halloween. He has the jumpsuit on, like the same suit Michael Myers
Oh, really?
wears. Yeah.
I think he hates that his face was used on that franchise.
Yeah,
Love
I don't
William
know.
Shatner.
I know. I don't know. if
He's
he-
got that paranormal show now. Well, I don't know if he still
Yes.
does it, but
Yeah.
like the
Yes.
World Mysteries.
Yeah,
I used
yeah,
to watch that
yeah.
during the.
He's like 90 years old now, isn't William
He's-
Shatner?
oh, yeah.
He's
He's
about at
very
least
old.
90. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's been on Star Trek. I've never seen one episode of Star Trek. Not that I don't like the show, I just never saw it.
That was my dad's jam.
Oh,
so
my
I grew up on
my
it.
sister-in-law, Space, The Final Frontier. The thing comes across the screen. She tells you just what episode it's going to be. She's really into it. I've never seen one of them.
Yeah,
I don't
see,
know.
and I watched the original with my dad, and then when they came out with Next Generation, I was old enough to appreciate that one, so I started.
Oh, I was
I'm-
more of Star
I'm
Wars.
like nerding myself so
Me too.
bad
It,
right
you know, it
now.
took me
Star
it took me
Wars?
a long
Yeah,
time to
that's
see
my
Star
gosh.
Wars just for that reason. Because they say, Star Wars, this is probably going to be like Star Trek, and I've never really watched it, so I probably won't like this. And then when I saw Star Wars, I thought, this is really good. I
Yeah,
really
There's
like
a
yeah.
big difference between Star Trek and Star Wars.
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Trek is about peace and uniting the
Yeah.
galaxy. Star Wars is about wars and killing the
Yes.
Sith. It's more exciting. It's more fun.
There's always
See,
more excitement when
I
there's
got
fighting.
I always knew
Star
the
Trek's
ending of
more like
Star
laid
Trek
back.
because Monday Night Raw would be on after that in like 03, so I'd always
the
have it
biggest
turned on.
next-
Yeah.
you always know what
I knew
Kevin
the theme
McCart's
song
up
very
to.
well.
So anyway, that's what Carrie's going to be doing this Friday night. That will be over at Moonlight Bean. They're going to do monster trivia, horror film trivia, just general stuff, isn't it? Monster
Yeah.
stuff, general
Yeah.
things.
I think
and
I'm
that.
helping
Now, is
you
this
with
from?
Yes,
Did
yes.
you make these cards up, or is this like from a game?
No,
or
my
something?
daughter got them.
Oh.
My daughter got them. I don't.
So somewhere
even know
there
where
is
she
a
got
horror
'em.
film trivia or whatever.
Oh, there's
it is.
all kinds
Yeah.
of horror.
Oh,
films.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
yeah. Like I said, I could tell you all the old stuff. The new things now, I couldn't tell you what's on there. I don't
Yeah.
know. They were the other night. I woke up and there were all these rats on the TV. I was like sleeping, and it was Willard. They were showing one of the Willard films.
Oh gosh, I remember that.
The
And they were down.
That
they were
guy,
down-
yeah.
Which one?
They were. I don't know which one it was. They were down in the sewer with the torches and everything, and they were burning them. And as they're looking this way, and then you could see shadows of the rats like behind them.
Yeah.
Like, ugh,
Not a
it's really
fan.
creepy.
Don't like critters.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
but I liked. It must have been the remake with that Crispin Glover.
Kristen.
Oh,
Yeah.
Crispin Glover. Yeah,
That guy's
he's
a
kind of a
creep.
he's a character.
I
in
love
the, yeah.
him. Yeah,
Him
yeah.
and Christopher Walken, two
Oh,
creepy
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Two
Yeah.
two
I
guys that are a
love
little out there. Yeah,
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 yeah.
mhm, yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, let's see. Let's run down the line here. Jake, anything to say in closing? Anything you want to plug?
Not really. Just
Jeez, let me see. It seems to me like I remember you doing something with some people called Kildare Haunted House.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, there it is.
Come check us out. We're open Friday, Saturday, Sunday in October. Fridays, Saturdays are 6 to 11. Sundays are 6 to 10.
Those times better be the same come October.
Now you guys are also thinking.
I'm sure they will.
I've heard rumors. I don't know if it's going to fall through or not, but I've heard that maybe there might be an April Fool's haunt that they might do. They may, they may not. I don't know.
It's in the talks, but I don't think it's going to happen just
Yeah.
because, we don't know how the weather's going to be.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's always a factor because your guys is sort of
could
like an
snow
outdoor.
that day. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
outdoors.
Yeah. Now you do one of the characters over there.
I used to, but now I don't know what I'm going to be doing for my new role. But we're going to try to get some bands there.
We'll
And
find something for you. They could always use somebody to sweep up or something. So
Very true.
they'll find
Or
something
I could be
for you to-
I could be a bell ringer for the church.
He
Yeah.
likes that joke about the bell
Concession
ringer.
stand.
He fell in love with that
Yeah.
joke.
I had to.
Yeah.
The church there is really pretty cool.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is something you have to say.
Carrie, go
It's
ahead.
very
what
demonic.
are you plugging there? We know.
Okay, so
go ahead.
again, this Friday at our shop at Moonlight Bean, we're doing horror movie trivia for some prizes. We'll have some snacks and stuff, and it's also, you can always BYOB. You're always welcome to do that. But then also Saturday, we are also, I just want to give a few shout outs to some of the other groups that I belong to because, like Bob said, I go everywhere. So Saturday, we also started working with me and my cousin Lisa here. We started working with the Chicago Knockouts.
Oh, you two are cousins?
Yeah.
We are.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Only by
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
Well,
Our,
that's
our
usually the
mothers,
way it works.
yeah, our mothers are
Mothers are sisters.
our sisters.
What are you, a
yeah.
cousin by proxy or something? I mean,
I
of course,
mean,
you're by,
Yeah. But we started working with the Chicago Knockouts roller derby.
Oh, the
So
roller derby, yeah.
we have
I gotta go see that one
Yeah,
time.
you
I used
do.
to watch
It's
that when I
so
was a
much
kid.
fun. So much fun.
Yeah,
so
when I was a
they-
kid, I
My
used to watch.
daughter's training in the
she's
they're
she's
starting a
16,
minor
so
league.
she just joined and is getting, and then she'll be on the derby with them.
I remember the days of the
excited.
fiery Ann Calvello and Joni Weston
Yeah.
in roller derby. And then they used to have roller derby. Roller derby was like a little bit more legitimate. That was the one that had the oval track that was kind of
Well-
slanted. And then there was another one that was more fake. It was like wrestling.
Yeah.
It was called the Roller Game of the Week. And that one was a little
Yeah,
more
I grew
fake.
up watching those with my
Yeah.
grandparents. But now there's several different teams out there, and but the Chicago Knockouts is an actual like a league.
Now, what do you do with the roller derby? How are you
So we
connected?
set up and vent
you
there.
you
yeah,
vend there with them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you sell stuff over there too.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then
You're not the striker, or you're not the
no,
forward?
I missed my calling. 20 years ago, I would have been doing it. I grew up
No,
in
I've been
on roller
contemplating.
skates.
I'm like, how bummed is my knee?
Yeah.
It just seems so much
But
fun.
it is so they do. They're are right now on a flat surface, but they're looking to get into a place and build their own track and do want to
would be
do
cool,
that
yeah.
old school.
Yeah.
And these girls train hard and they do skate hard, like. But they do put on a show for you.
Oh, sure.
Too.
Yeah, it's
But
a
I'll
show.
tell you, they're
They're
going home with
definitely-
bruises. I
Yeah.
mean, they're some tough girls. And then the names are just phenomenal. The names they come up with. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
they're just fantastic.
Yeah.
So, but if you get a chance, yes, that's Saturday. They do
Virginia
it. It's in
Ham
Homewood.
and
My daughter just picked her name.
Yeah.
And she was stoked because nobody else had that name. But we're Rocky Horror fans, and so she's going to be Frankenherder. We're really
say
stoked
hello.
about that.
Say hello, Griff.
Yeah.
Remember that Rocky Horror?
Yeah.
They used to show it at the theaters, and these people would show
They still
up,
do.
and they still
They
do
still
that.
do that.
At
yeah.
Hollywood Theater, they do it. They used to do it,
And they would throw
every
the rice
Saturday.
and squirt the
Yes,
water
they
and do
do.
that.
I don't know if
Pack-
did they start doing it
Yeah.
again since COVID? You know,
Yeah,
COVID
we-
shut down
we
everything.
Let's do
Music
They
box
have,
still
like,
does it every once in a while.
Twice. We stand up and do the dance and everything. It's
The time warp.
Hollywood Theater, they have it now since COVID.
You think I don't know these
like
things?
Once, they were trying to do it once a month, but I think the next one isn't until April or something. They had it in January. But, yeah, and you can buy the kits and everything.
Oh, it's a
and-
cult film.
Oh,
it's
and they
great.
have,
Yeah.
They have actors that walk through and, like, yell stuff, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. So this actually,
That was
this was
Barry
this last
Bostwick,
year's
Susan
last
Sarandon. Was it Susan Sarandon?
Yeah.
Barry
Yeah.
Bostwick, Susan Sarandon.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry was
love
the
me some Tim
Dr.
Curry.
Frankenfurter.
Yeah. That's where her daughter got their name. Franken hurt her. You know?
Ah.
Frankenherder. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you always a lot of them have some kind of like violence in their name.
Well,
so-
pretty much all of them do.
Yeah, Yeah.
Lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Lisa Dulitis, what do you got going on? What estate are you selling these days?
Nothing. I'm doing
what the
eBay,
heck?
but you can check me out. I do a lot on Instagram, and my little side business is called the Crawl Space.
Oh.
And Witcherama.
So yeah, I wanted to give a plug to them because
Yes.
Witcherama? Yeah.
they've been right now. We're kind of
That's the drag show thing, isn't it? Or
they do
do
a
have a
pop-up
drag
drag
show
show,
in
but
there,
it's
yeah.
so much more than that. But like now, we're kind of looking for a new place. The market's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we found a new place last week. Was it last week?
Yes.
It was our first one. And of course, it's in the city of Chicago. We were in Summit before, and Chicago now shut it down for permits because we had way more than we had expected.
I lived in Summit 58 years. They don't allow drag shows in Summit.
Oh, well, they do now.
No, I don't know. I just see when you say
Yeah.
something serious enough, people believe you.
Yeah. And then I also work with a group. So check out the Witcherama, check out the Chicago Knockouts, and then I also work with the Street Arts Alliance group with Jason, that tarot reader he's part of. And they do a lot of brewery art shows all around. And they're a lot of fun. And it's always fun to, go check out a brewery. It's always somebody local,
Yeah.
So those are a lot of fun. And then, of course, I always like working with Kildare Haunted City.
Yeah.
So go check them out, too.
Okay, cool. Okay, so there's Lisa. Rob Tillian. What do you got going on? You got your investigation this weekend.
Yep, to Thornton.
At the Thornton Distillery.
I think Jack and Tony are still accepting people. I think it's
Okay.
like $45 a ticket.
$45 a ticket they charge for this now. Now, how long are they going to be in there investigating?
How long? I believe about. I think usually the time is from. I want to say it's usually 8 to midnight. Don't quote me on that. But
Okay.
it's usually like 7 to 8 to midnight. That's
Okay,
for most
right.
places. But it could be longer for this one.
Yeah,
So
and
that'll
they
be
do
at
have
the
a
Thornton-
medium with them for this one.
Yeah.
Zimora. She's pretty good.
But other than that, nothing too much. Obviously, I'm on Facebook, Rob Tillian.
Yeah.
But-
Rob's really into dinosaurs, too.
Yeah. Thanks for the little Brachiosaurus.
Rob Tillian. That
I've been
kind
trying
of
to
almost
figure out
sounds
what's
like,
up with that all night. I've been staring at that brontosaurus.
Right?
Don't you ever see
His
his
name,
posts
Rob
on
Tillian,
his
doesn't
Facebook?
it?
Always dinosaurs.
I've been
in it.
following that stuff for
I
long
always liked the
time.
dinosaurs, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Theropods, and I love all that.
I think everybody likes the
Sure, sure.
dinosaurs.
And Leland Pierson's got his show, Questioning the Weird.
Yes, we're in like pre-production, so which is just a fancy way of saying that I'm being very lazy. Got some stuff.
So is it a podcast? What is
No,
what is going on there?
What we do is, it's video. So we go and I make little documentaries with people like Bob and go over like anything really that's strange and weird. We did palm reading. That was fun. I have one right now. I've been editing. Sylvia's probably mad at me because I haven't done it yet. But we went down to the Bartonville Insane Asylum. And did kind of like a more historical documentary. It wasn't really ghost hunting. It was more just like the history of the grounds, why people say it's paranormal, and then things that were great there and bad there. I got one episode with some ghost hunters that went over like what this piece of equipment does and how it works. And it's just I've been bogged down with the job that pays the bills. I have. Once I get
we're
home,
all still there. We're all still there. Yeah,
that's how they
Still
work.
Remember
doing
the
it.
Tinley Parks?
What's up?
Tinley Parks Mental Hospital that got shut down?
Oh. I can talk
The one
about
right
that
off of
off the
Harlem
I'll tell you
there?
a story about that place off the air.
Oh.
Now, did you do anything at Bachelor's Grove?
No, I haven't. Well, when I was
Yeah, I'm
younger.
surprised. I would have thought you would have liked.
Well, okay.
So
well,
because we're right. Our shop is right down the street from Bachelor's Grove, so we're familiar with it. So
To
if
be
you
hon-
ever do something
That's
there,
down
I
the
want
road
let
from
us
me
know.
where I live.
Sure. Well, I mean, to be honest, when I was younger, we broke in there because it was illegal to go there for years.
Yeah.
And then I found out from doing the show recently that I don't know if it's legal, but they're a lot more lax about folks actually going.
Yeah.
Where back in the
Yeah.
day, it was like
I've never had.
you go to jail.
Not so much. Yeah, I remember when I was a teenager and we would go. It was like if the cops even seen you like at night, like walking over there, they'd be like, "Where are you going?
Oh, don't go at
There's
night.
nowhere
Yeah.
else you
Don't
can
go at night. Go
Yeah.
during the day.
Right. Yeah.
But you're, during the day you're in high school. You don't have time to do it.
Exactly.
Were
Well,
you
now
in
you're an
high school?
adult.
I
I know. So now they're like, "What are you
Senior
doing?
ditch
You're an
day,
adult."
you know.
Hey, we went there, and you know what? We didn't even know
I
it
was
the
there
day we
yesterday.
went.
was
National Cemetery Day. We went because her daughter, it was her 16th birthday, and she wanted to go there. She had been there once, I think, right?
No, we go there often. Yeah.
So she wanted to spend the day there, so we did, and that's when, like I said, we ran into Pete.
A lot.
We ran into Pete.
Yeah, I am. I'm in cemeteries a lot. A lot of people are in cemeteries.
Yeah.
People are dying to get in. What can I tell you?
There's the punchline.
Somebody say, Bob, what are you doing?
Bob,
What are you doing?
I thought you'd never ask. Tomorrow night, I'll be at, where am I going to be tomorrow? At Chuck's over in Burbank, right across from the Burbank Firehouse there for Valentine's Day. Be doing palm readings there. I'll be with you Friday.
Right.
I don't know if I'll do palm readings, though. Well, I probably will. If somebody wants them, I'll do palm readings there and that. I don't see when I do that, like at your shop, I don't like to. That's why I play a low profile. I don't like to.
Ring in on this. He thinks that if he's there doing readings, he's taking away.
Yeah, I don't like to.
Event.
Yeah.
And I think he's adding to it. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Right.
people like that. Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's why I kind of sit there in the background because I'm like, I don't want to, like Friday, you were selling good in that. I says, oh, good. I'm glad to see that because I says, I don't want people coming and paying me money and then they don't buy something from yours, so I feel kind of funny about that. But, yep, so I'll be there Friday with them, too, and then I got other stuff coming up, but we'll talk about that all later. Things are coming down the line. Don't forget it's Black History Month. Go out and read something. Look at your history, Black History Month. There's a lot of good history there. Black folks have done a lot of things people are not aware of. The awareness is coming up now. Incidentally, too, something else I want to mention about Black History Month. I didn't know the woman was still alive. Carol Bryant, the lady that caused all the trouble for Emmett Till. Carol Bryant was the lady that owned a store where Emmett Till went, and supposedly he flirted with her, whistled at her, whatever he did, and that caused all the trouble. That actually caused his demise, caused him to get killed.
She's still alive?
She's still alive. She's in her late 80s. I didn't know I thought she passed away. But it's different now. She's not married to her husband anymore. They divorced. They've had a horrible life since all that Till thing happened.
I couldn't imagine.
A lot of things have happened bad to them. And then she recanted her testimony. And then later on she said, no, none of it was true. So now the cousins of Emmett Till want her brought up on charges now. They want it reopened and they want her brought up on charges for that, yeah. I did not know she was still alive. I knew Emmett Till's Simeon Wright and Wheeler Parker. We used to have coffee with them. I used to have coffee with them when I lived in Summit at Dunkin' Donuts. They lived in Summit, yeah. Simeon wrote a book, Simeon's Story, his book. And we were talking one time, and I said, oh, my God, they mentioned Emmett Till. And I said, I never knew this about you. So I had them come on the radio. I did a whole show with them all about Emmett Till and everything and that. And they were with him when he was abducted. Simeon has since passed on, but Wheeler Parker is still very much alive. So, yeah, they have a story to tell about that. But this has been in the news lately. I heard that this morning on the news. Didn't hear about the Chinese things.
You're too busy.
I
didn't
hear that one about or the UFO thing. Rather, that was I didn't hear that, but I heard about the Carol Bryant. They want that, and that was on yesterday too. They were talking about it. So, but I didn't know the woman was still alive. Yeah. So just read something about Black History Month, President's Day today. So much for that. Do we still have a president? Yeah, we do. There's somebody in there, isn't there? Yeah, I think we still have.
I guess
we still have somebody there.
It's nice that it's quiet.
The check engine light's on.
Yeah.
You can sway whatever way you want politically, but it's been awfully quiet lately.
Yeah.
That's how we like
things. Are horrible.
Yeah, it is.
I appreciate
but now they say that these balloon things that have been coming over and that they've been shooting them down, and then they find there's nothing in them or that. But I'm thinking to myself, now, like when I go to the dollar store is always out of this or out of that or out of the other. I went to the mall today, and in the mall there were certain things they were out of and that because they said, well, it's coming from China. We're not getting it. So why don't they put the stuff in the balloon, send the balloon over, and shoot it down, and then we'll have the stuff in the dollar store.
There you go.
I got the answers to these things, but nobody listens to me.
See, I thought
anyway,
it was your balloons
that's
from McDonald's.
Did I cover everybody? Did everybody get to say their last word? Okay.
Can I just throw in?
Oh, what the heck? Why not?
My cousin jumped in and took over my airtime.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's what cousins do.
I was just going to say, I am on Instagram, and I believe it's the crawlspace_Chicago. And I post a lot of the.
What do you do on there? What do you sell stuff on there, or what do you do?
I don't really sell stuff.
Oh.
I show off my goodies, and then I pretty much sell on like eBay or.
Well, wait a minute.
A lot of her vintage stuff.
You put on Instagram.
My Instagram.
So what is that? Just more like for advertising?
Yeah, and just fun. Like I follow a lot of other vintage people, so like I'll show off my Pyrex.
And you sell on eBay
or stuff
though.
that I make and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Or she'll have or she's been doing a lot of shows.
I've been posting a lot of the knockout stuff.
Yeah,
because my daughter and stuff. So Yeah.
I love eBay. I love how eBay is like an international thing. Like I find records
I
or
don't
stuff
love
like
their
certain.
fees though.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't love their fees.
Well, we could talk. We'll talk about eBay when we're off the air here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah.
eBay. We can go on with that. I got something else to tell you guys too, but I got to say that off the air too because I don't want to rub anybody the wrong way here. But I need to hoot. Well, gosh, thank you all for coming on. Jake, thank you so much for coming on. Come back anytime you'd like. Carrie, you're always welcome on. Lisa, come back when you want. Come back when she comes or come without her. We don't care, you know.
Ooh, I
it doesn't
got
matter.
personal
Yeah.
outside
Rob,
today.
come on too.
I'm in now.
Yeah, it was
Anytime you'd
I
like,
might
Rob,
have a
you're welcome
guest
to come
next
back
time,
on.
Bob.
Leland, what are you doing? What
My
is
uncle
that?
who wrote Paranormal's Investigator's Guide to Team
Oh, yeah, he's
Organizing,
his-
Tom
yeah.
Petrizzo.
What is that?
He has an uncle who is into the paranormal.
Oh,
Yeah.
we got to get your uncle on here.
Published
Where's,
author.
Oh, he would love to come on.
where
I
does
just
Uncle live?
He lives in Shorewood, Illinois.
Oh,
So it's not
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
we'll have to get Uncle to come on here.
Oh,
Yeah.
he would love to.
Well, the heck with you. We'll get you on here next time. Yeah, we'll
I'm
get
not
your
an
uncle on
expert.
here. Yeah, we'll get your uncle.
I
He
just
wrote
like to
your
talk
uncle wrote a
about
book.
it.
What was the name of the book that Uncle wrote?
His book is called Paranormal Investigator's Guide to Team Organizing.
Ah, does he have a team? Does he?
He used to. He hasn't had one in a while because he stepped away for family and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
Then he decided to write the book.
yeah.
Eventually, don't ask me when, but eventually my book will be done. Every winter I say this. Oh, January and February, it's cold. I'll sit down. I don't do it. I'm doing something else instead. I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and the book just kind of sits there. But I got to get to it. I got
The
to.
last time we were
yeah.
here, the lawyer who was here went and said about how you should never put off writing your stories.
Yep, I know. You know,
See,
I have
She
a
was
written.
very
the big thing
interesting,
I walked
yeah.
away
Yeah.
from. I went home and I told my dad, I'm like, can you just start writing down stuff? I'm like, it might sound like completely mundane,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to know what your childhood nickname
I
was
write
or
things down
something.
all the time. I handwrite them and that, but it's just compiling everything and getting it all together and doing that and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I take paranormal breaks too. I do other things besides the paranormal too, like some of these other projects I work on and other things. So I think we covered everybody. Rob, we covered Leland. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Don't forget Leland's show explaining the paranormal, or no,
Questioning the
Questioning
weird.
the weird.
Questioning
Oh, yeah.
the weird. That
Questioning the
sounds
Weird.
like something
And the
I'd
name
be
of the book
interested in.
was The Paranormal's Investigator's Guide.
To Team Organizing.
Paranormal Investigator's Guide to Team Organizing, written by
Tom Petrizzo.
Tom Petrizzo.
Yeah.
Where can we buy the book?
On Amazon, it's only $8.
It's only $8.
Only $8.
Oh gosh! I'll give. Does Uncle do by credit cards or whatever? I'll give him my credit card number right now. He can mail me a book. I want him to sign it for me.
It's
On the side.
089.
I don't. What did he say?
He was going to give him your credit card number.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We'll do it. I'll do it. I'll get the book. I get everybody's book. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Gosh, it's wonderful to have you all on here. Come back anytime you'd like. What are we doing next month, Leland?
It's March. Maybe some St. Patrick's Day Irish folklore stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah. There we go.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Every April I do Titanic.
That's why he keeps me around.
That's my trivia. Ask me anything you want to ask me about Titanic. I can tell you. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be a fun
Yeah.
one
Titanic.
again.
I've always
Yeah.
been into the Titanic. Yeah. Amongst other things.
And that's in April,
That's
right?
the anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
April 15th, Abraham Lincoln's assassination.
And
the
tax day.
Sinking Titanic and tax day, yeah.
that's my buddy's wedding.
John, sign us off. Thank you so much for listening, folks. It's always a joy doing these shows. And, gosh, go out there and enjoy yourself and do some paranormal investigating for yourself. See how you like it. See what you come up with.
You have been listening to Paranormal Radio. You have been listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trzeciak from the John DeVita Broadcast Studios and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. Paranormal Radio was directed by John DeVita, and the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network is Mr. John Chikanda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Monday, February the 13th, the year 2023. Until next time, please, friends, be safe and thanks for listening.